The latest tech.
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
Interviews.
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that is happening.
Accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values. It's even a part of our mission statement.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to another awesome edition of Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here each and every single week. If you want to get involved, it's feedback@ami.ca. On Twitter, just follow us. It's @DoubleTapCanada. Use that hashtag whenever you've got a question for us. It's AskDoubleTap. And now on Instagram, we are @DoubleTap.online. Each and every single week, this guy's by my side. He's like a co-host that just doesn't go away. It's one of those diseases, I'm telling you, and I have not found the prescription for it. Yeah, thanks. Stephen Scott, welcome back to another edition of Double Tap TV. An exciting topic this week. We're going to be diving into a couple apps, two in particular, that, according to you anyway, you really need on your smartphone. Am I right here?
Hey, listen, after that introduction, you're lucky to get one. No, you are absolutely right, Mark. You are a very lucky man this week. And there's a theme as well.
Oh,
we're going to be talking about apps. Yeah, absolutely. Apps that can enable independence with two very different approaches here.
Okay, and let me guess. They'll both be using the latest hardware inside the smartphones of today?
Well, sort of. At least one of the apps we'll talk about will use those latest innovations. But the first app we're going to talk about uses basic, simple human interaction. Yes, Mark, humans.
Okay, interesting. Stephen, we talk almost every day, you and I anyway, on FaceTime, but we obviously don't see each other every day, given the couple miles or kilometers between us. Do you use any apps that enable your own independence, even though you're stuck at home?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's the great thing about smartphones. There are so many tools that you can use, and there are some classic features as well of my smartphone that I use. Such as, for example, the built-in magnifier in my iPhone. Now, Android users have got access to a similar feature as well. But this can be really handy to read something quickly or try and locate something in the distance. For example, when I was outside and if I was standing waiting for a bus, like that ever happens, but if I was going to use a bus, obviously I'm going to use a taxi. I'm a superstar, Mark. Who's going to? I'm not going to get on a bus. Or limousine, yeah, exactly. But look, if I was to go crazy and use a bus, I'd need to know what that bus number is before I know whether to stop it or not. Is it even the bus that I want to get on? So you can use the magnifier app for that. Now at home, I use the Voice Stream Scanner app as well. This is an amazing app, which lets me quickly scan in my mail very quickly or read address labels of the packages I have, so that I know what's mine and what isn't. Very handy around the holidays, of course.
Okay, so how does that actually work? It uses the camera and transcribes it, or?
Yeah, exactly. It uses intelligence built in, artificial intelligence, to actually scan the document. So on the screen, when you actually hold the phone up, it draws a square around the document. So clever, right? It actually draws a square around it. It even tells you audibly if you're whatever you're trying to scan, be it a letter or a package or whatever, is actually in frame. Once it is, it will then just click, take a picture, then use optical character recognition, also known as OCR, to turn that piece of paper or label into readable text that can be spoken aloud on my smartphone using the built-in screen reader. So, I get a letter in most recently about my COVID-19 vaccination. There's a code I need to use on there. There's a reference number. I can just hone right in on that and hand that information over to whoever needs it. It's quite incredible.
Now, you and I have talked a great deal about specialist hardware, especially for blind people, and we find that most of it's very expensive because they're not making it en masse, as they say. They're not making 20 million units. They're very specialized, so obviously it costs more, and there's less profit margin, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to apps specifically built for blind people, is it the same scenario? Are we spending a lot of money because there's not that many people who use it?
It's a brilliant question, and in most cases today, not so much. But it used to be like that, especially at the beginning of the App Store, especially in the Apple world, where some apps would cost over $100. But thankfully now most of these apps are around the $5 to $10 mark. I mean, there are exceptions to that, but ultimately most apps, most tools you might need will fall into that ballpark of between $5 and $10.
Okay, that makes sense. So here's a question for you, okay? Are there any apps or can you give me some examples of apps that are built for everyone to use, regardless of disability, but something that works a little bit differently that you take advantage of as a blind guy that I wouldn't even think of?
Yeah, so I guess the one that springs to mind is the camera app on my iPhone. Yes, blind people take pictures too, right? And on the iPhone, if I launch the camera app, I can hear via voice feedback if my camera is level, what camera is being shown on the viewfinder. Is it the front camera or the back camera? Even how many people are in the frame. It will even tell me where they are in the frame. I can roll my finger over the screen. It will tell me who's where. So I can get the best picture, not just actual picture, but the picture in my mind of what I'm taking.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't actually think of that, but now obviously thinking of it logically, things like the level that are built into the phone, the accelerometer, as long as there's some voice feedback to it, really can actually work to your advantage. That's really insane. And, just even for my own everyday use, being able to turn a camera around and turn on voiceover and know that we're both in frame or centered, that is really pretty cool. Now, Stephen, I know we're going to find out about even more wonderful apps and services out there for blind people and anyone else who actually needs them. So let's take a quick break. Stay right there. Again, if you've got an app that you want to think of or you've got an app that you want us to know about, let us know. Email us. It's feedback@ami.ca. You can also reach out on Twitter @DoubleTapCanada with that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap. And now on Instagram, send us a screenshot. It's @DoubleTap.online. Let us know what apps you use that make your everyday seem more independent. This is Double Tap TV. We will take a quick break and be right back.
Love Double Tap TV? Listen to AMI Audio for Double Tap Canada every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for news and reviews on everything tech. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here each and every single week. An exciting topic this week. Stephen Scott next to me, as he is each and every single week. Stephen, we're talking today about apps that can enable independence. And our first guest is going to tell us about an app that's doing this kind of the old-fashioned way, using the latest tech. Am I right?
Yeah, and I know that sounds a bit odd, right? The old-fashioned way, but with new tech? Well, what does that mean? Well, this is the interesting thing about this app. The good old-fashioned approach of just asking someone is the theme of the first app that we're going to talk about today. This is something which blind people do a lot of the time. We grab someone and we say, can you help us with this? Well, as I say, that is the theme of this app. And with us now to talk about it is Will Butler. Now, Will is the Vice President of Community at Be My Eyes. Will, great to have you here on the show. Tell us about your app, Be My Eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Be My Eyes is a very simple app that allows people who are blind or have low vision to connect with sighted volunteers or company representatives to get visual support whenever they need it. So it's a visual interpreter on demand, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in practically any language you can imagine.
Oh, okay, wait a second, Will. You need to dumb this down a bit for me. What is a visual interpreter service?
Be My Eyes was founded by a blind gentleman named Hans from Denmark, our founder, who came up with the idea with our CEO, Christian, and they launched the app in 2015 with just one button, and it just said, call first available volunteer, and ping people all around the world. We weren't sure if it was going to really take off, and overnight we had 10,000 volunteers sign up and 1,000 blind users, and the rest is today we have more than 5 million users around the world.
Wow, that's a lot of volunteers in such a short space of time. What do you think contributed to the rise in popularity in such a short space of time?
It really spread word of mouth, like most things do in the blind community, but it spread word of mouth through the volunteers as well. I think that there's just something sort of basic. There's this basic human kindness. People want to do things for each other, most people. And I think we look at our smartphones largely as a suck of our time and energy and resources. And sometimes they stress us out more than they help us. So when people heard that there was an app where you can literally help another person in need without much effort, I think it just resonated.
So talk me through how this works in practice. So as a blind person, I go into the app, I call an available volunteer, right? And what happens next?
All you've got to do is just press the big blue button or press the smaller blue button to get to our specialized help section of the app where you can call a company. Or you can even use Siri or Google Assistant to call with your voice. So you can just say, call Be My Eyes, open Be My Eyes, or call a Be My Eyes volunteer. You can customize your Siri shortcuts now so that you can do all those things. You can call Microsoft, Google, Verizon, Microsoft, Google, all sorts of other companies on Be My Eyes.
I want to ask you a little bit more about the specialist help you talked about, but can I first ask about the type of calls people make to the volunteers? Are they quick calls, or can some people be on for a while with their queries?
It's interesting because I think a lot of our users have very different relationships with the volunteer network. Some people really keep the Be My Eyes app as a backup when they need that, when they're doing something out of their normal routine and they need a pair of eyes at an unexpected moment. Maybe they drop something on the floor, or maybe they're in an unfamiliar location. Whatever it is, it's like that go-to backup option. And they don't need it the rest of their lives. Some people are calling Be My Eyes volunteers every day, and they have this amazing relationship with the volunteers where they're just so comfortable talking with them. And sometimes they chat, sometimes they don't. There's no need to chat with a volunteer. Many of our calls last 20 or 30 seconds. Simple as reading a label and saying thank you, or identifying an object, locating something, thanking the person, and moving on throughout your day. And we also have calls that run an hour long every single day. So it really is sort of what you want to make of it, Be My Eyes app. Then we introduce specialized help. So specialized help is taking the concept of video support to the next level, to the sort of professional level. We have experts and professionals from companies all around the world, anywhere from tech support to medical devices and personal care, all sorts of different companies helping with their products and services. So that could include tech support from Microsoft. If you're struggling to update Windows or have a question about your email, Microsoft is available answering calls on Be My Eyes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Google is also open many hours in the day for tech support. And we have other partners that are doing really interesting things, particularly in the UK. We've partnered with the Department of Health, Social Care, and the NHS Track and Trace team is answering calls and helping people get home COVID test access.
It sounds like there's a lot of great work going on in the UK and around the world, to be perfectly honest. But what about here in Canada? Do you have any relationships with companies here too for specialized help?
Yeah, so specialized help is kind of a lesser known but arguably more powerful part of the Be My Eyes platform. We introduced it back in 2018 with Microsoft to start, but today we have companies including Google, the maker of the Clear Blue pregnancy test, nonprofit organizations that serve the blind and visually impaired, and we've just announced that CNIB is joining Be My Eyes as well. So CNIB is going to be providing visual support on the Be My Eyes platform, as well as internal support for their employees through our Be My Eyes for Work platform.
Coming up in our next segment, we'll be looking at how the latest technology inside our smartphones can enable independence. There are many apps using this type of tech, including Seeing AI, Soundscape, Google Lookout, and of course, the guys at Supersense who will be joining us shortly. But Will, the question to you is, do you ever think that the future of apps based on actual human interaction, because of all this technology, might be numbered?
I don't think it's ever going to take away the need. I think humans will continue to help each other in all sorts of ways until the end of time. But we're very excited about all of the AI and computer vision applications that are coming out. We've been doing some giveaways on the Be My Eyes podcast. We gave away a pair of Envision glasses. We gave away an Orcam. It's been we're very, very excited about all those tools, and the more we can improve computer vision and bring it into our applications, the better they'll get. We sort of specialize in human support and those subtle, nuanced things that computers can't yet identify. And I think we hope down the road we can help improve computer vision. But for now, we really believe in the power of human to human interaction. And the truth of the matter is we get really excited about all these new technologies, but we forget there are so many people out there who would have a very difficult time learning these new technologies. And there is a learning curve with technology. And some people just want to talk to a person.
Will, it's been so nice having you on the show, and really interesting, quite honestly, to learn about your app and how it became such a hit with the blind community, but also all the wonderful volunteers around the world who signed up to lend their time at the drop of a hat to help people with visual impairments. Stephen, an amazing app, but we're going to hear about another one next, are we not?
Yeah, we're moving right along and bringing the meaning of the word double to Double Tap TV this week. We've got Shane Lowe to tell us about Supersense and Super LiDAR, the newest apps on the market using the latest in AI and LiDAR tech to enable independence.
Well, we're looking forward to bringing Shay on deck with us next year on Double Tap TV. If you'd like to get in touch, the email address feedback@ami.ca, on Twitter @DoubleTapCanada with that hashtag, which is #DoubleTap, and on Instagram @DoubleTap.online. Stick around, back with Shay in a moment.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here each and every single week. We really do appreciate your support, and we do appreciate all that communication from you guys, especially the emails to feedback@ami.ca, and of course the reaching out on Twitter @DoubleTapCanada with the hashtag #DoubleTap, and a couple of those pictures are a little bit embarrassing, but we'll take them anyway, on Instagram @DoubleTap.online. I am Mark Aflalo with Stephen Scott by my side each and every single week. Stephen, we spoke earlier to Will Butler and found out about the amazing app called Be My Eyes, which is available on iOS and Android phones. Honestly, amazing work going on there, especially with all the volunteers that get involved. It really is quite impressive. But Stephen, what about some of the tech inside our smartphones? Can it not do some of the heavy lifting and actually take some of the work off people?
Well, yes, they can. Ultimately, though, it is about choice. Some people might prefer to talk to a human, when in other situations it might be preferable to use artificial intelligence. So let's imagine you want to read your bank statement. Would you rather a machine read that information that wasn't sharing it with the world, obviously, or a volunteer whose intentions you can never be entirely sure of? So to that end, we turn to the advances in new technology. AI, artificial intelligence, and LiDAR are two great examples of this. And with us now to talk about their use of these innovations is Shane Lowe, Community Operations Manager for Mediate. Now, this is the company behind apps such as Supersense and the new Super LiDAR. Shane, welcome to Double Tap TV. Tell us more about your business.
Our goal is to make things more efficient and more effective for people. So we're trying to solve actual problems that people have. So we don't come in and make products and try to sell them to you as if we know the problems you're having. Our process always starts with asking people what they're interested in, what your issues are, what we can possibly do to make your life easier, your life better. We have two products for the blindness community, Supersense and Super LiDAR, and we're working on some other products for the mainstream community as well. We focus specifically on app development, so we have apps for iOS and Android.
Okay, Shane, tell us more, first off, about the Supersense app.
Supersense is our first app ever that we released, blind or mainstream, and it is on iOS and Android and focuses on making the lives of blind people like myself more efficient when you're scanning things. So that could be anything from a document, a business card, a barcode, a banknote, or a table, a person, a doorway, anything in your area. If you can scan it, we want to be able to give you more information about it.
So your new app, Super LiDAR, uses the LiDAR scanner that's inside the iPhone 12 Pro, of course, the new iPad Pro. Now, for those of us who don't know, can you talk us through how that scanner actually works?
Yeah, so LiDAR focuses on getting information about a space. So it focuses on things like distance and orientation, like direction. So I can scan an area in front of me and it will be able to tell me what is in front of me, where it is, and how far away it is with LiDAR. And it's practically instant. It's amazing. And the the field of view, by the way, on these phones, the 12 Pro, the 12 Pro Max, and it works on the iPad Pro too. The field of view on these cameras is ridiculous. If you hold it at usually when I use it, I hold it at my chest level, and it can see off to either side. It can see down where my cane would be. It can see up at my head level. It's full coverage. It's really cool.
Okay, so to that end, tell us more about the app itself and how that works to benefit blind people.
And where Supersense focuses on scanning and giving you information about the items in your environment, Super LiDAR, our latest blindness product, focuses on giving you information about the environment itself. So LiDAR focuses on assessing a space and getting feedback about how far away things are and where they are.
Now, we've talked before here on Double Tap TV about the amazing new developments in mobility tech. And I think if I think back to the interview we did with WeWalk, who showed us their smart cane, which uses LiDAR as well. But do you think that this tech will eventually take over and possibly mean the end of the white cane or the end of needing a guide dog?
I personally, no. I wouldn't want to ditch my cane. I never. I would never want to rely completely on technology for navigation, because I feel like there are a lot more factors involved that could go wrong. So I mean, my cane could snap. That's really about the only thing that could happen that takes the cane out of the picture. The future of this is being able to get information all from the same app without relying on business owners or us as the developers to map a space, because it just won't work. You'll never, like, I personally, I'm a cane user, and I don't use any navigation apps like this until Super LiDAR, because they're not universal. You know, like some apps have one city mapped out or two cities mapped out. Some maps have like this train station mapped out in this place, and like I can't work that into my routine. Like, half of the battle here is getting people to realize, oh hey, there's this thing and it will give me useful information, and so I should use this software. Like, people have to work that into their routine, and that's kind of difficult to do, because I'm a person who has a hard time with that. So I understand. I navigate the way that I navigate, and so if we're going to ask people, hey, you should work this program into your routine of navigating because it will give you useful information, we should make sure that they can use it anywhere and everywhere possible, because otherwise it'll never work.
Shane Lowe, it has been great hearing from you today on Double Tap TV. Good luck with the apps, and come back soon to tell us about the work you're doing in this space.
Stephen, definitely an interesting show again this week. If you've got any questions, guys, email us, feedback@ami.ca. Just because we're talking to them this week doesn't mean we can't get in touch with them and ask them your questions and talk about them on a future show. If you want to reach out on Twitter, it is @DoubleTapCanada with that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap, and now on Instagram @DoubleTap.online. On behalf of all our guests this week and Stephen Scott, I am Mark Aflalo. Thank you guys for being here. We'll catch you on our next episode of Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. Hosted by Mark Aflalo and Stephen Scott. Editing, Will Latar. Production assistants, Wendy Kaufman. Content review, Zachary Aflalo. Social media, Andy Wynn. Segment producer, Sean Priest. Voiceover, Anna Vicino. Integrated Described Video Specialist, Ron Rickford. Coordinating producer, Jennifer Johnson. Director, Production, Kara Nye. Director, Programming, Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2021, Accessible Media, Inc.